They say our deepest fears can sometimes become our reality. And for one young woman named Lila, that statement would prove to be terrifyingly true. Lila had always been afraid of two things: losing her sight and losing her sanity. She'd experienced both in her past, and the memory still haunted her to this day. But now, living alone in an old Victorian house, those fears were becoming more and more real. It started with her sight. Every time she closed her eyes, she could feel something watching her, lurking just outside her vision. And when she opened them, she was never sure if what she saw was real or not. She began seeing shadows that shouldn't have been there, feeling the presence of unseen eyes boring into her skull. Then there were the sounds. Footsteps in the attic above her bedroom, whispers in the dead of night, scratching at the door as if someone were trying to get in. And then the voice. A raspy, distorted voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once, calling out her name, singing songs of madness and despair. But the worst was yet to come. As the days went by, the sightings increased. She began seeing apparitions in the corner of her eye, shadowy figures that seemed to phase through walls and furniture. She tried to tell her friends and family about it, but they just laughed and dismissed it as stress. But she knew it was something more. She could feel it in her bones, a growing sense of dread and impending doom. Then one night, as she was awoken in the middle of the night by a blood-curdling scream, she knew she couldn't stay in the house anymore. She had to get out. But as she stumbled through the darkness, trying to find the front door, she felt a cold hand grab her shoulder. She screamed and turned to see a shadowy figure standing behind her, its eyes glowing red in the darkness. She ran, stumbling and falling as she made her way through the house, the voice getting louder and more distorted with every step. She could feel its presence closing in on her, its icy fingers reaching for her neck, its hot, fetid breath on her ear. As she finally burst through the front door and into the daylight, she could hear the voice right behind her, whispering in her ear, "You can't escape me. I'm inside your head." And then everything went black. Lila's friends and family were right. It was just stress. But now, as she lay in the hospital bed, blind and insane, she realized that sometimes our deepest fears can become our reality. And some nightmares are best left undisturbed.